So this is tale number two. So tale number two is called Elvis has entered the building. So when I was a head teacher, actually in all the schools I've worked in, we've always had school uniform. But my last headship was really, yeah, there was a school uniform, but as long as pupils were wearing trousers, grey skirt, and a sweatshirt, a red sweatshirt, didn't have to have the school emblem on it or anything like that, then we were quite happy with that. Um, but there were times when we turned a blind eye to school uniform with some individuals because the challenge in the morning would basically just set them up to fail for the rest of the day. So sometimes we just let it go. Anyway, there was one time where my self and my deputy head were out greeting children in the morning, and a rather tricky character came in with a white shirt turned up and big gold Elvis Presley sunglasses on. And we sort of looked at each other and thought, you know what, we're just going to let this one go. So we did. So the day started, no dramas or anything else. And we were in my office having a senior leadership team meeting, and I was by the door. And the system we had in the school was if a teacher in a classroom needed support from a member of the SLT, then they sent a child with a red card with the name of the class on, and they just went and found the nearest member of SLT that they could, and they handed the card, and then you went on to deal with the problem. So there was a knock at my door. I opened the door, and there was a young girl there, gave me the red card, so off I went. And it was the class where the young lad had appeared in the morning in the playground looking like Elvis Presley, and he was not having a particularly good time. So I just went over to him, whispered very quietly that he needed to come with me, and we'd go and sort out whatever the problem was, away from the classroom, so everybody else could get on with their learning. So off I left, and he duly followed me. So I opened the door to my office, and all the there's about 5 members of staff sat there, senior leadership. So I opened the door to my office, and as I opened the door to my office, I just said, Elvis is entering the building. And, there was, sort of wry smiles and everything like this. So this lad went to his usual place where he had things that he needed to be getting on with, and he just sat down and carried on, working, thinking, wondering why, people had sort of, smiled when he'd walked in and things like that. Anyway, then I sat down, I said, right, let's get back to the agenda. So we were going through the agenda, so I just sort of said, what point had you got to? And instead we were talking about, I can't even remember what it was. We were talking about this. So I then turned to my deputy and said, so did you sort that out then? And he just went, uh-huh. Anyway, that was the end of our SLT meeting, because then we just could not contain ourselves. And this lad was sat in the corner just looking at us like we were all a bunch of weirdos, which we probably were, but it was absolutely hysterical. And the meeting was drawn to a very quick close because we couldn't actually stop laughing. So another story that used to of a little event that used to keep me sane when I was ahead.